And good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the Prep Sports Report Thursday Night Live. And it's the coach, Carl DeMasi, and the columnist, Stephen Elmo Weeks, talking local prep sports. Tonight, we're also going to be talking to and catching up with former Savannah Country Day, South Carolina, PGA Pro Tour. He is still a PGA Pro Tour professional golfer, Mark Silvers. Well, Stephen, I know you're out in the golf course having a lot of fun, I guess. And once again, we're at Thursday Night Live again.
Yeah. I'm actually, my son is actually practicing right now to see if he can maybe one day get to the level that our guest has gotten to in terms of being that good at golf. So yeah, I'm doing our show remote today, and the sun is beating down on my head. It's still like 100 degrees out here.
I can imagine being at that junior golf tournament on Monday and Tuesday, man. And I was at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's got to be a little hotter by now.
Yeah, it's starting to cool off out here, but this is the best time of day for us to do this because we do a lot of practice types of things and stuff like that. So it's a great thing to do, and we're that's part of golf, and I'm sure Mark is going to talk to us about it. Golf is a game that is just practice, and then practice some more. So that's what we're doing.
And speaking about Mark Silvers, Savannah Country Day alum, South Carolina Gamecock alum, All-American in South Carolina, went on the PGA Tour, had a lot of tour events, and he's joining us live now on the internet, right here on the Thursday Night Live edition of the Prep Sports Report. Mark Silvers. Mark, great having you on. Nice to see you.
Hi guys, thanks for having me on.
Well, I've been following
you.
How
are you?
I stepped on Stephen. He asked how you doing, Mark.
Oh, I'm good. I am inside in the air conditioning, so I think I'm in better shape than you are right now.
You got to remember the days that he's going through like this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I was out there. It's much more comfortable in here.
So, all right. Well, we've been following you. What's going on? What's where you've been, and what's in the future for you right now?
Well, I tell you, I don't know if anybody else has heard of this virus thing that's going around, but it is it's not really good for anybody. It's been kind of wreaking havoc on the golf world. Obviously nobody did anything for months, and it's the first professional sport that's really kind of gotten back in the mainstream, but the trickle down effects from it, obviously, I've only played a couple of events since they started running them again, and it's a different world right now. It's sometimes you can't take the flags out. They may not have rakes in the bunkers. Obviously, for guys like me who, I have Mackenzie Tour Canadian status, and they had to cancel that tour this summer. We're just kind of stuck trying to find things to do.
So, Mark, one thing I'd like to ask you about is I know since you were going to play Mackenzie Tour, are you going to play in some of the events that they've just announced on that local? I think it's called Local IQ. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and to be honest, we're still trying to figure out who all's going to get in these events. I've been getting emails about it. They sent us out a survey over maybe a month and a half ago about if people would want to do it in what areas of the country. My status with the way my status is, nobody really, there's no precedent to see how many people are going to sign up for these events and who gets in them. So we're kind of waiting on the commitment sheet to see if I'll be able to get in those or not, because it draws from Corn Ferry Tour, the Canadian Tour, the Latin American Tour, the China Tour, the Mackenzie Tour, and so still trying to figure out the details of it. But it's a great idea. It's nice that the tour is stepping up and doing something for guys whose seasons have been washed and don't have a chance to go to Q school.
Yes.
So the PGA has put off the Q School.
No Q.
Yeah. No Q School there. Both tours are doing a combined 2020, 2021 season. With some little finicky things thrown in, but the most important thing is, there's no Q School this year.
Now, have you been
what
following
Monday qualifiers, Mark?
What's that, Stephen?
I'd say, what about Monday qualifiers for Korn Ferry and things like that? Is that something that you've tried to do, or is that just kind of too much money, too much travel especially with COVID?
I mean, I haven't yet. The ones in Jacksonville filled up in like a day, but the tough part is they've scaled back on Monday qualifiers too. Last year they had 12 spots. Now they're down to 8 for Korn Ferry over 2 golf courses, so 4 and 4, and they've gone from 4 to 2 for PGA Tour events.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's if you don't have Korn Ferry status, or even if you have conditional Korn Ferry status, it is just it's a brutal year.
Well, I'm going to go back to your younger days, junior golf. I just spent 2 days at the Savannah Junior Golf City Am, and it was unbelievable. Tell us about your experience playing at that level and working yourself up where you are now.
I mean, it's so cool to see junior golf, thriving in Savannah. I know it was fun. I volunteered out at the Georgia State Junior a couple of weeks ago out at the Savannah Golf Club, and got to see some guys from Savannah make the cut. Reed Lauder played very solid. And, from my days back to Savannah Junior Golf, carrying the clubs around Bacon Park up to events like the State Junior, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but it was. But it's cool to see kids, fighting to try to get their names out there to get into colleges, and it was really neat to kind of immerse myself back in it for a couple of days.
Steven?
Yeah, Mark, since we are the Prep Sports Report, I'd love to ask you.
Sure.
Hello?
Yep.
You're there.
You hear me?
We got you.
I'd love to ask you, how did playing junior golf, high school, etc., how did that help shape you as a person? Not necessarily an athlete, but I mean, how many relationships do you still have that you developed during junior golf, and being a younger person with this? How big of an influence has that had on your life?
Yeah, I mean, it taught me a lot of things growing up. I mean, I'd get dropped off at the when you're kind of playing a sport to want to advance to a higher level. I mean, you have to learn time management, responsibility. I mean, you had to learn early that, in order to get out to the golf course and play on the teams, you had to make good grades and do what you had to do, before you could make that happen. So the more you wanted to excel at golf, the harder you had to work at everything else. And luckily for me, that kind of that helped me through college, and made that process a lot easier. And then once I turned pro, you're able to manage your time and focus on the things that are important. And so, I mean, it really does. It begins at that age, carrying your bag around in junior golf, learning how to take care of what you need to take care of. And that's lasted me, all the way up until my 30s. And I know it'll carry on.
And you're watching Thursday Night Live right here on the Prep Sports Report. It's the coach, Carl DeMasi, and the columnist, Stephen Elmo Weeks. We're talking to former standout golfer from Savannah Country Days, South Carolina, and now on a PGA Mackenzie Tour, which is on a hold right now. My question to you is, I watched these kids, boys and girls, these past 2 days. Is the mental part of the game as tough when you're a young kid to when you become a professional?
It was so funny. I had this conversation with somebody the other day watching the juniors play the Savannah Golf Club for the state junior. I mean, the Savannah Golf Club is short. I mean, especially by today's standards. I mean, most of these kids, geez, hit it as far as I do. So distance, they're hitting wedges into most of these holes and can reach most of the par fives. And the GSGA had the golf course set up really tough. And as I'm watching, and I did 8 live scoring for one of the final groups the last day, and these kids are just banging drivers and firing at every pin. And some of the pins on the back nine got some of the leaders as they were shooting at it. And it's like part of me just wanted to jump out of the cart and like caddy and say, leave that pin alone. Just
we're about to interrupt our practice so Jack can listen to
yeah,
that.
right. It's like it's hard to tell a junior golfer, from 100 yards that, hey, for this pin, for this particular flag, if you hit it to 25 or 30 feet, you hit a good shot, and just get out of this. This is the one pin on this hole, even though you have a wedge. But part of me was also a little jealous, for me, after you play for a while and you have good experiences and bad experience, it's almost like I was a little bit envious of just the lack of fear that these kids showed, so there is definitely a middle ground there, but it's amazing seeing kind of just the aggressive nature that that kids have at that age, and just the fearlessness how they play golf. It's like if I could just take the experience and a little bit of the course management that I've kind of been able to have over the years and merge it with their absolute fearlessness, I feel like we could do some damage.
Steve, is there fearlessness?
What's that?
Is there fearlessness with these little guys?
Oh man. We shot 80 on Tuesday because we were going at pins that were in bad places. Just playing. My son finished second in the Savannah Junior City Am on Tuesday, and I saw a 12 turning 13-year-old shoot 67, Mark, hit 17 out of 18 greens, and didn't have a putt outside of 12 feet for 18 holes. And he went at pins that any coach in the country would have said, "Don't go at that pin."
sounds like I need to get my coach at South Carolina to send that kid a letter.
His name is Hamp Threlkeld, and he is the truth, brother. He can
Love
go.
Love that.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive for that young man. And a couple of other junior golfers had some great rounds too. I mean, one of the girls shot a 35 on the back nine, Steven?
Yeah, I tell you, the most impressive one to me was the young man who went birdie eagle to win the golf tournament, yeah. Jacob Fripp. He birdied 17 from the gold tees at Bacon Park. I had to be 240, 250, and then he eagle number 18. And it is a short par 5, but I don't care. Anytime you make a 3 on a par 5,
yep.
You've done something pretty special. So especially to win
Okay, we lost you at the end there, Stephen.
I was just saying the most impressive thing to me was Jacob Fripp going birdie eagle to win the Open division of that golf tournament. That's a lot of pressure for a young man to have, and to be able to do that is awfully impressive.
Yes, it is. It is. I don't care what the hole looks like or, what the level of the tournament is. It's tough to win, and especially to do it like that, it's pretty impressive.
So I'm going to jump off ship a little here. You're a Savannah guy. You've played these courses all over Savannah, the area. I'm going to put you on the spot here. You don't have to answer it.
Oof.
What's the best golf course in Savannah, Georgia that you've played on?
Oh my gosh!
I'm sitting at our home club, Mark. Look out.
I was about to say, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate mail if I don't say the Savannah Golf Club.
Hey.
No, it is. I mean, the Savannah Golf, and especially like when you see it set up how they had for the state junior, and when I play it, it's short, so it's a lot of wedges and it's great practice, but I make a lot of birdies out there, and to see when they want to make it tough, they do it for our club championship every year that I like to go watch. And when they have an event like that, you see it stand up and nobody's shot under par in, reachable par fives and drivers and wedges, and gives me a lot of pride, and it shows, how good, solid, old school design can hold up even without the link today.
Nice.
I would say 1A is the Ford Plantation. It's a pretty good track. Technically, that's in Richmond Hill, though.
Yes. Listen, I'm gonna have to give a little shout out to Frank Paris over at Levita, because Levita, nobody will believe me. Levita might be in the best shape of any golf course in Savannah right now, and I loved, again, Mark, you mentioned old school golf courses. Levita's in the neighborhood out in Windsor Forest, and when it's in good shape, it's about the most fun. I don't know how it is, but you can play 9 holes in 44 minutes. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the dynamics or the physics are behind it, Mark.
That's if you're taking your time.
And that's really if you got to go back to the clubhouse to get a cold beverage or something, right?
That's exactly right.
Wow. Well, what's next up? Well, I mean, are you waiting to play? Steve said there's a big tournament coming up that you might participate in.
Yeah, certainly hoping to play in the Georgia State Open here in a couple of weeks out at the Ford Plantation. Have played well. I've played in it twice out there and played pretty well. Would definitely like to. I've kind of flirted with it, but would definitely like to win one. I think they played it in Savannah Harbor in 2010, and I was in contention, and then twice out at Ford. Got to watch Tim O'Neill win it one year, which was great for Savannah, and I would certainly love to be able to put my name on that trophy as well.
Mark, speaking of Tim O'Neill, Johnson High School graduate, played his Savannah his junior golf here in Savannah as well. He and Tommy Schaff, another local player, they've been playing on something called the APGA Tour. Have you learned much about that, or dipped your toes into those waters yet?
I haven't. I believe it's called the Advocates Pro Tour, and
something like that.
Yeah, and it started as a minority-based tour, and it's grown into a really cool deal. I don't know much about it, but I mean, Tim's had a ton of success playing out there. They get a lot of good players, and they play some great golf courses. I know Tim won an event earlier this year out in San Diego, and
I think he won one last week too.
Yeah,
he did.
Just won another one. I didn't even realize he was down there. I have not played in any of them yet, but I know a lot of the guys that do.
For some of the people, parents are listening. Why do you think Savannah produces so much golf talent? I mean, right now I look around, I look at the Junior City Am, and that wasn't even everybody that is talented around here. But there's kids shooting scores. I think Fripp shot 69. Of course, Hamp Threlkeld shot 67. There was a young woman had a couple 9s under par. But in the 10 to 12 age group, which is my son's age group, every kid but one broke 80 on a 55,500 yard golf course.
Yeah.
Why is so much talent being developed in Savannah right now? Have you seen any kind of trend or pattern that would speak to that?
I think golf is just accessible here. I mean, we've got some country clubs, but there's a lot of really good semi-private courses, and I grew up playing most of my golf at Bacon Park.
Right.
Our Muni is a Donald Ross, which is
that's right.
Which is as a layout is an awesome golf course. And,
absolutely.
I don't think we're in an area. Savannah's really good about making golf accessible to kids. I mean, when you could go play the Savannah Junior Golf Tour, and you could play every single tour or every single course around Savannah, public and private. I don't feel like golf is a closed off sport around here, which I think is great. I mean, when when I was in high school, my graduating class, between a handful of schools, we had 3 or 4 D1 players and 3 or 4 D2 players. I want to say the top 5 guys for Savannah Christian all played college golf.
Gee whiz.
I mean, I was kind of lucky, kind of going through what felt like a little bit of a golden age. And obviously Harmon went to Georgia, and a kid named Chase McFarland went to UNC, and
Right.
There's been a little bit of a lull, I would say, the last maybe 10, 12 years. We've had a couple of guys have some success and go play college golf, but nothing consistent. But it really, after going and seeing things like the City Junior Am and watching that state junior, Savannah junior golf is definitely becoming very prominent again.
I'll tell you, Mark, I see from the time that I've spent doing this and watching it and following it, right now, between the ages of maybe 10 and 13, 14, I think I've seen half a dozen, maybe more, Division I kind of prospects, in terms of just beautiful golf swings, but course management and the willingness to go practice and play and find, find that experience. I have to agree. It seems like it's booming right now, and it's not just guys. I mean, you got Kate Barber and Mary Miller. Mary Miller is, unless I'm just dead wrong, Mary Miller's an LPGA player. I mean, she is as good as anybody I've ever watched play golf. I think she finished in the top 10 at the girls junior, the Georgia girls junior out at Savannah Quarters recently, and I think she's only 14 years old. She's incredible. Kate Barber is incredible. The young ladies who played at Bacon Park, Maddie Saxton, who won the golf tournament Monday and Tuesday, and also Erica Couch, who's a 2-time defending champion. I think she's from Richmond Hill, but just a tremendous amount of young women and young men that I think are you're going to start seeing on leaderboards in Division I, Division II college golf.
Yeah, that's great.
It's going to be it's going to be great to see. All right, so if we do have any younger golfers that aspire to get to college or get to the next level, what recommendations would Mark Silvers make, being from junior golf all the way to the PGA Tour? What recommendations would you make and give them? What guidance could you give them?
Well, I mean, I would say a lot of what Steven and Jack are doing right now. It's a little bit different, it seems like, these days, with kids getting younger and doing more swing videoing and track manning and things like that. When we would just go play and learn how to get it in the hole, and then and then kind of figure out, tighten up your golf swing after you learn how to play. And so I would say that younger age, I mean, just get out there and play, learn how to get the ball in the hole, and then make the golf swing pretty. And the kids now that are getting into high school, I would definitely recommend to go play for a coach that you are passionate about. I got extremely lucky going to school where the coach made me a better player. And, I wasn't kind of blinded by a certain school that I really wanted to go to. I waited to find the right one. Whether that's, an SEC school or a smaller school where you're going to get to go right in and play, don't get locked in on one school that you want to go play. Find something where the academics and the coach match up, because you're stuck with them for 4 years. You better make sure it's the right one. And like I said, I still talk to my college coach once every 2 weeks, and we're really, really close. And
wow, that's great.
And I can tell you, I wouldn't have been able to turn pro if he wasn't my college coach.
That's so cool to hear, man, that you still keep in contact with your coach this, so long after that has gone. That's really cool, Mark.
Yeah.
Now, one step being the coach, being the educator, tell these kids how important your grades are if they got to get to the college level first.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, for me, I wouldn't have been able to go to South Carolina if it wasn't for my grades. I was a little bit of a late bloomer in junior golf. Like, I had some local success, but I didn't really have much national success until right before, kind of at the end of the recruiting period. So the only reason I went to South Carolina, they didn't have much athletic scholarship, but they made an academic scholarship available to me
Nice.
so I could go out of state.
That's great.
So, as much as golf played into, obviously golf's been my whole life up until this point, the experience that I got to have at the University of South Carolina was only available because I made good grades in high school. So while you might think golf is the only important thing going into college, who knows what I would be doing right now if I wouldn't have been able to be able to go to an out-of-state school on a limited athletic scholarship without making good grades first.
Nice.
Yep. So
that's a great message to send, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is. I know it is cliche, but it is the absolute truth. There's a reason why parents hammer it into their kids. It's the truth.
Well, first thing I tell my kids, whoever I'm coaching, whether it's softball, football, basketball, whatever I'm coaching, the first thing I say to them, coach is not going to come in and ask about your talent. They know about your talent. The first thing he's going to ask me is, how's his grades and how are they as a person?
Yep, exactly. I mean, if you go in there and you don't make good grades, it's not only going to hurt you, it's going to hurt your team. I mean, if you become ineligible or you don't get your schoolwork done, then it affects how you practice and it affects everybody. Golf's an individual game, but once you get to college, you're part of a team. And part of being a college athlete is making the grades to be able to compete.
Steven?
I'm good, man. I'm gonna sign off and go help Jack with his putting a little bit. But Mark, I appreciate. That's the only thing I can help. He hits it better than I do. I can only help him with this one thing. I appreciate your time, and certainly I've been a fan of yours since you were a young man, and known you for a long time. I've followed your career, and not only a tremendous golfer, but an incredible ambassador for the city of Savannah everywhere you go. And we appreciate your ambassadorship of our city, and we're certainly always rooting for you.
Well, thanks, Stephen. I appreciate it. And tell Jack to go make some birdies.
He just did, actually. He birdied number 9, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Carl, take us home, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it, Stephen. Have fun. All right, before I let you get out of here, I'm going to give you another big question here. Not which is the best course or anything like that, but you've had an outstanding career, Country Day, South Carolina, All-American. You played at the U.S. Open. Most memorable moment playing golf, wherever it may be on whatever level.
Oh gosh, it's hard to narrow it down to one. I've had
Greenbrier Classic. You were a TV star.
I mean, making the putt to win the big break was pretty amazing. But I will say, making birdie on the 72nd hole of our United States Open.
Nice.
And just getting to, I got to play with Ernie Els and just kind of getting to take in that whole Sunday in a major experience. And it's something that's just impossible to describe. I've been very, very lucky to have some really, really cool memories, but it doesn't get, obviously, you want to do that and hold a trophy, but just to have that experience is something that I wish I could give that feel to everybody that plays golf.
Yeah, I can imagine. Last one. Started out junior golf, no fans, carries your own bag. Now they're on the professional tour, and you're probably going to have to do this. No fans. What's that experience going to be like? What goes around comes around, right?
Yeah, it's. Like I said, I'm not obviously at the Memorial this week. I can only imagine when you're used to playing in front of, especially the Tiger Woodses and those guys. When was the last time Tiger Woods played a golf tournament without thousands of people watching him play? A lot of those guys feed off of that energy. So it's going to be interesting to see if it when Tiger does the fist pumps and there's no roars, what's it going to be like? For me, I don't quite have the following that Tiger has, so it'll be a little easier adjustment. But it's I haven't checked to see how Tiger's playing, but it's going to be weird watching on a Sunday without the Tiger roars.
Well, you know what? The TV rating is going to be off the chart this week.
Yep, for sure. He moves the needle.
So,
I don't watch a ton of golf, but I will watch it if Tiger's playing.
I watch it on Sundays.
For sure.
Or whenever you guys get some exposure, I mean, Brian Harman, he's there, but it's very rarely that you get any cameras on Brian Harman. But anyway, all right. Richmond Hill Golf Course, Ford Plantation. When are you going to be playing at that?
It's the first full week in August.
In August. All right. Yeah. Sounds good. I'm going to try and get up there and see if I can use my little credentials to come see what's going on. But I appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure. Like Steven said, you're a great ambassador to the sport of golf. You're a product of Savannah. Hard work, dedication on the course, in the classroom has gotten where you got to. But always a pleasure, Mark. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me on, Coach.
I'll talk to you.
See ya.
Mark Silvers, Savannah Country Day, South Carolina product golfer from Savannah, Georgia, went through the ranks of junior golf. And that's why I wanted to get him on tonight, because I couldn't believe the intensity that these kids in junior golf are playing with. I mean, the exhaustion, the disappointment of not, making a big shot. It's even on that level. So it was pretty cool. Well, once again, it's Thursday Night Live on the Prep Sports Report Facebook page, the coach, Carl Damasi, and, of course, for the columnist, Stephen Elmo Weeks. Once again, got to thank Mark Silvers coming on. Hornet, Gamecock, professional golfer right now. We'll be back next Thursday night at 7 o'clock. I haven't anybody lined up yet, but I'll find somebody. But remember, I'm usually on Saturday mornings on the internet with the coach and AD on the Carl Damasi Sports Report. But I'm going to take a little break this weekend. Chad Griffin's going to take a little break. We'll be back the following week. Georgia High School, has said it's okay for high school football teams now to use their helmet before July 27th. July 27th is the first day. They got to go 5 days in helmets, T-shirts, and shorts. Then they can come back the following week and start getting equipment. Volleyball, volleyball and softball allowed to have tryouts right now before the official season starts. They will start August 1st with cross country. Oh, don't forget the ladies. Number one fan of high school football, the cheerleaders. Right now they can have tryouts, but they won't be allowed to start till August 1st with official practices. Couple of states around the area are starting late. Across the river at South Carolina, the South Carolina High School Association won't start practice till August 17th. They'll start playing September 11th. Savannah Chatham County just announced that they will be going virtual, the first to open up school. When they'll come back to in-person classroom activities, we don't know. They have not said anything about athletics. So right now, all schools are getting prepared for a fall athletic season. Georgia High School is supposed to come out next week with their recommendations as far as fall sports and what they're going to be doing. Because if a lot of schools go virtual, or a lot of schools say they're not, or school districts or private schools say they're not playing, I don't know if we'll have a season. But I know there are a lot of kids that are gearing to it. I mean, the class of now 2021 senior football players, there's no football. Who's going to see them? What's the chance of getting a scholarship there? Same thing with volleyball. Same thing with cross country. Same thing with softball. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So as of right now, Georgia High School State Association, who governs our local high school sports, has said right now teams can still practice, still following the coronavirus protocol. And remember, it's up to each school district and each private school what they do. Same thing in Giza, the Georgia Independent State Association with Memorial Day School in St. Andrews. And same thing with Bethesda, who plays over in the South Carolina Independent School Association. Check the Prep Sports Report website, prepsportsreport.com. I got an article today about what our local associations are doing, Giza, Skeezer, and GHSA. Well, it's time to get out of here, and it's always a lot of fun. We'll be back next Thursday night with the Prep Sports Report Live, the coach, Carl Damasi, and for the columnist, Stephen Elmo Weeks. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully it's your best week ever, and whatever you may be doing, hit it out of the park. Gotcha. Have a great weekend. God bless. Be safe.